In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson wanted to buy the important port city of New Orleans from France. But when Jefferson's Secretary of State, James Monroe, went to make the deal, he found that France was willing to sell not just New Orleans, but a 530 million acre tract of land called Louisiana. France needed money fast. Months before the Louisiana Purchase, France lost its #1 sugar-producing island, Saint Domingue, to a slave rebellion, the Haitian Revolution. Losing this financially valuable island struck a serious blow to France's war efforts in Europe. So, for $15 million, merely 4 cents an acre, France cut the deal and sold Louisiana, doubling the size of the United States. Just like any new purchase, you check it out. Jefferson chose Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, along with a group called the Corps of Discovery, to map their way clear out to the Pacific Ocean. Among the 45-member Corps of Discovery was a man named York. York and William Clark had known each other their entire lives, but not as neighbors and not as friends. York was Clark's enslaved property, his body servant. On the journey west, York helped navigate waterways and trails. He handled guns, even playing a role in a perilous buffalo hunt, gaining valuable food resources for the expedition. York experienced a level of freedom that must have felt so strange, yet at the same time, so good. While crossing the Rocky Mountains, many in the Corps suffered from starvation and frostbite. York helped keep the expedition on track and, more importantly, alive. Many of the Native Americans the Corps encountered on their journey west found themselves bewildered by the appearance of York. York stood 6 feet and weighed over 200 pounds, but it was his dark complexion that caused the most astonishment. Native Americans in the far west had seen Europeans before, Russian and French traders, but never a black man. Upon meeting York, some Native people attempted to use sand to rub the color out of York's skin. It didn't work. The Nez Perce Native Americans called him Raven's Son because of his color and mysterious origins that we know as Africa. One legend told by the Nez Perce mentioned that some warriors among them were intent on killing the Corps of Discovery, but fear of Raven's Son stopped them in their tracks. On a few occasions, York was credited with saving the expedition which, after a year and a half, did reach the Pacific Ocean. One act on the expedition makes it clear that York was a respected, contributing member of the Corps of Discovery. When deciding where to take winter quarters before their return trip east in the spring, York was allowed to cast a vote. This vote would be the first recorded vote by an African American in the history of the United States. 6 months later, the 2-year ordeal was complete. Mission accomplished. The Louisiana Territory had been mapped, and the Great Pacific Ocean had been reached. York hoped his loyal service and contributions would be rewarded with his freedom. After all, William Clark had freed a man only a year before the expedition began as a gesture of gratitude for good service. York had a wife in Kentucky, and freedom would allow him to pursue a family at last. But Clark refused. He kept York at his side as a body servant. Years went by, and according to Clark, York began to show signs of misconduct. Clark did what many slaveholders did with the enslaved people they found difficulty controlling. He rented York out to a plantation known for cruelty and abuse towards enslaved workers.